Hi everyone, I'm Ed Highland. This is the Big Ideas Theater here at AARC Congress, and I'm joined now by Rich Zink, who's with Purdue University. Rich, thanks so much for coming by.
You're most welcome.
We're talking about ventilators, utilizing some benchmark data to really come up with some ways to improve patient safety. Can you give us some idea, how did all this kick off?
So I work with a project called the Regenstrief National Center for Medical Device Informatics, which is so much of a mouthful, we just go with the acronym REMEDY.
Okay.
And REMEDY has two key parts. It's a community and it's a database. And so all the ventilator people that are interested in sharing their data and knowledge participate in the REMEDY project and share their data so that they can look at other people's data and learn from them to improve patient safety.
Now give us some thoughts on what are you gathering from the data at this point?
Right now, I'll call it's the defaults. So when you bring a patient into the adult ICU, where do you start in setting your pressures and your respiration rates, things like that? And we do it by the population type, so whether it be adults or pediatrics or neonatals. And then you can, like I said, you can benchmark any of those alarm types that are set and just know, hey, I'm not the only one that sets mine that low or that high, and I can look at the distribution of everyone else's. So kind of that confirmation that your setting is not an outlier.
Can you give us some thoughts on, have you been surprised by any of the data as of yet, or does it seem to be falling pretty much along the lines that we're already familiar with?
I think it's still too early to say.
Okay.
We have a limited number of people that have joined. I'll call it a collaborative, the project.
Okay.
So far, I think we're up to 6, but we do see a range. Obviously, as we get more data, we'll have a better idea what the real distribution is. But when there's a lack of guidance and standards out there, this is a great resource for people to go to.
Now, how many patients, or do you know offhand, how many patients are involved approximately?
So we don't have any patient data. All we do is keep straight alarm data. So when you bring a patient into your ICU, the ventilators are set at some level. We know you're going to change them for the different patient, right? Because we're all different and unique. But where did you start? And that's the information we're capturing. So the good news, there's no PHI, there's no risk of breaking confidentiality of patient data. So everyone's welcome to join and share their data.
Now, this, I believe before we got started, you were saying how it's kind of spun off from some other projects you were already involved in. Can you give us an idea, maybe the evolution, maybe give us an idea there?
Yeah, great, I'd love to. So in 2009, we got started collecting infusion pump data, really in response to national priorities due to medical errors with infusion pumps. And also the Indianapolis Coalition for Patient Safety came to us and said, can you help us? And we said, sure. So we started collecting infusion pump data, and it's a national collaborative. So we have something around 400 hospitals across, I don't know what the number is, I'll make one up, 32 states that are sharing knowledge and data. And so as we were doing that, it's like, hey, there's a lot of similarities, some of the challenges the respiratory therapists are having in alarm data. They're under the same drivers. For example, in the Joint Commission National Patient Safety Goal, it says you should be looking and monitoring your alarm. There are 62,000 ventilators that generate a lot of alarms and contribute to the alarm fatigue problem for nurses and respiratory therapists. So we said, hey, this makes a lot of sense. It's very similar to something we're already doing. So we said, yeah, let's go ahead and just extend the database, if you will, to support these default ventilator data sets.
Now, is this something that you would be looking to expand further, get more hospitals involved perhaps? And is this something we put a call out for and say, hey?
Absolutely. We certainly would welcome anybody who wants to share their data. The one rule we have is you want to see other people's data, you have to provide your own. Right now, what we provide are I'll call it the community tools. So there's a discussion thread in a document repository where you can share knowledge and documents. We have the database where you can capture these default settings again. And our vision is to, depending on the need, I think it would make sense to capture the actual alarm data itself. So now, hey, most of us are setting our respiration high respiration rate at 90. I don't know if that's a good number. I'm an engineer. But what really happens with the data? You know, how often do we? What are the most alarming channels, if you will? Is it PEEP or PIP pressure, or is it the respiration rate? And that way we could share all that data and learn from each other.
Now, I don't want to get into names of manufacturers and such, but is this something where you are trying to get some input from manufacturers, working with them? And
yeah. Well, one of the basis of what we have is we try to be vendor neutral. So the beauty of starting with defaults, it doesn't matter what your vendor is. Go ahead and deposit your data. It's the same. Now, when we get to actual discrete alarm data, certainly we want to work with the vendors and who can help us understand how the hospitals can get the data out of their system easily in a standard format so that we can process it and put it into the database. So we've talked with some of the vendors, and they're definitely interested.
Well, we'll put the call out now. Are you going to be around? I mean, is this during the Congress
yeah.
here? Okay.
Actually, I'll be here actually talking about this database in just a few minutes.
Okay.
And be around a little bit after that.
Well, I'm glad we got a chance to chat with you and
thank you so
put the
much.
word out there a little bit. Hopefully, of course, it's all about patient safety. So
yes,
the more we can get information on that, the better we all are.
I appreciate the time.
Rich Zink, Purdue University, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
And this is the Big Ideas Theater here at the AARC Congress.